Okay, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Let's get our cameras on. Okay, we're going to run a session on, it's kind of, I'm just going to take you through some spreadsheets actually and just help you with some sort of planning. So I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do it, but we're just going to do it. I know these spreadsheets are really great. I kind of made them up years ago for general business, and I believe I can, in the chat window, I'm going to give you a link to these spreadsheets.
Hey, Richard, can you show your screen? I think right
now. In a minute, there's nothing to show.
Okay.
I'm on to it. Right, so in the chat window, everyone, there is a link, and I believe you should be able to go to that link and download either the Apple version or the Mac or the Microsoft version. And what you'll come to, it's going to look way small, but what you'll come to is one of these where you've got the option of Apple version or a Microsoft version. So I'm a Mac, and there's a range of little spreadsheets in here. So before we get into that, I'll just check who's here. So we're Ashley Renton, Chris Toddy, Francis Klein, Ritu, Robert Franco Jr., Sue Asenis, okay, good. Umberto Guracino, Wayne Familio. Okay, so most of your names I'm pretty familiar with. A couple of new names I'm not too familiar. Wayne, you too well. The rest of you I think I do. Okay, Lisa Bixler, hey Lisa. All right, so I might just unmute. I just need someone who I can plug some names in. So anyway, let me just go through this. And I will open up the first one. Okay, now, like I say, the point of these spreadsheets are really to help you with various forms of planning with your marketing. First one's not opening up. There it is. Okay. Now, the one I like is the Millionaire Matrix. So I might just get Lisa Bixler. I might unmute you, Lisa, so I can talk with you. You there, Lisa?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
Is it large enough?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it doesn't seem, maybe I can make it bigger, just big. I've got a giant, that's better. Okay. So what I want from you is, I just want you to give me some hypothetical numbers. So they can be your numbers or they don't have to be your numbers as an architect. And we're just going to work through this spreadsheet here. And I've dropped the link into the, you guys are free to go and download these from that link in the chat window. So what I need is from you is you can make up hypothetical numbers. You have to be real numbers, but just for the sake of the exercise. So this one here is to work out, okay, if I want to earn a certain amount of income as an architect, how much money, what actually has to happen? Okay, so how much money do you want to be earning in the next 12 months, Lisa? So you can give me a real number or a fictitious number. You don't have to.
That number works.
100?
It probably works for a lot of us, yeah.
Yeah, okay. What margin do you operate with? So if you get paid $10,000 for a project, how much of that do you end up keeping? Now this is a slightly difficult question because I know some of you pay yourself a wage and salary, but really it's a simplified version. How much of the $10,000 do you usually get to keep? What percentage?
You know, I'm not probably the best person to ask about this because for me it's not necessarily consistent. It
Right.
depends on, you know, what other, I mean, I have it ideally how I'd like to do it, but then I also have, you know, unexpected expenses and things like that that come up. And so I, you know, for the business that I end up sometimes moving things around. So,
All right. Well, we're just generalizing here. So just give me a number that seems reasonable, roughly, as a generalization.
you know, your numbers are good. Like, why don't we can work with those.
Okay. Let's say 70. Okay. What revenue do you receive from an average new client for an average project? I know they're all different, but is 20 okay?
Yeah. Some are less, some are more. So that's about, yeah.
Okay. And you might carve this up for different types of clients or different types of projects, right? From every meeting you get, so the purpose of this thing here is you just fill in the shaded, you know, you just have to fill in 1, 2, you can see 5 shaded areas and it works everything else out for you. So what's your conversion rate from a qualified meeting? If you have someone, you know, books a meeting with you and they're reasonably qualified, what percentage of those clients would end up doing a project, do you think?
Yeah, probably about half because a lot of them aren't ready right away
Of course.
for some other reason. Yeah.
And how many inquiries would you typically need before you get a qualified meeting?
You mean how many do I just turn away because they're not a good fit or from the
Yeah, I
initial
suppose.
contact?
Yeah, total inquiries that end up having a decent meeting.
I would say 3 or 4.
Okay, well, let's leave it
Yeah.
at 3. All right, good. Okay, so this little spreadsheet, so what it says now is it's calculated everything from that. So from a $20,000 project, you end up with $14,000 in your pocket. It's probably slightly simplistic, but what I like about it is this. Based on your answers above, here's how many average clients you need per year to earn yourself $100,000. Okay, you'll need 7.1 projects, right? So you'll need, that doesn't seem right, does it? Per week? Oh, per week, yeah. Per month, you'll need 0.6 of a project, and per week, 0.1 of a project. But anyway, so the relevant one, I suppose, is per year, 7.1 projects for you to hit your income goal, okay? Here's how many meetings that you'll need to have. Based on those simplified numbers, you'll need 14.3 qualified meetings per year, or 1 and 0.2 per month, or 0.3 per week. All right, and here's how many inquiries you'll need. You'll need basically 43 inquiries per year, 3.6 per month, and just less than 1 per week for you to hit your $100,000 goal based on those generalized, slightly simplistic numbers. All right. So with that information, armed with that information, you'd then look at that and go, right, well, you know, I need 14 meetings and 43 inquiries based on this run rate, which goes, okay, that's not too bad. So I just think it's a useful little exercise just to see, right down to the how many inquiries do I need. You know, it's a useful exercise to do just to work out what is required. Right, 43 inquiries per year. You there, Lisa?
Yeah. No, I'm processing what you're saying. That makes sense. Yes. I'm in my head. I'm trying to think the next step. How do I get 43?
That's That's right, yeah. But at least you know your numbers,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's a marketing exercise. But even the 14, and of course the numbers can change, but okay, I need 14 meetings a year. I need 1.2 qualified meetings per month. Now, obviously, projects can take a long time. This assumes that everybody closes quickly and all that sort of, projects go ahead. But I just think it's a useful thing to do. Okay, so then you're saying, all right, well, how do I get 43 inquiries? Then what you can do is you can go to the next sheet, Lisa, which is the lead analysis. And the lead analysis sheet, if I can make it bigger, is this one here. So this will be, oops, where's it gone? It's definitely not there. It just disappeared. Oh, okay, here we go.
It really is
All right.
magic. You made it disappear.
I know. It's amazing, isn't it? Okay, this one here is all your marketing activities. These ones here are your marketing activities. So make up some marketing activities for me, Lisa. Let's say you've got a newsletter. And I would do this by month, right? So let's say 290 leads is a bit ridiculous. Let's say you got 2 leads from your newsletter. And let's say you invested, I don't know, 5 hours in putting a newsletter to getting it out, let's say 6. And let's say from that you ended up having one meeting. And you got 1 sale from it, and that sale was for, let's say for your average $20,000, and your margin is 0.7, like we said before. Okay. So this works out your conversion rate. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but conversion rate to meeting for the newsletter. The cost per lead is $3. You've got 2 leads, so sorry, investment in time, that's wrong. Let's say 6 hours and you bill yourself out at $100 an hour for this work. Okay, so it costs you $300 a lead. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Let's say you've invested $600 worth of your time. You got 2 leads, that's $300 a lead. You got 1 meeting. Conversion rate was 50%. Cost per meeting was $600 in terms of your charge out rate to yourself. You made 1 sale. Your average sale for the month was 20,000. The margin was that. Profit per sale 14,000. Cost per client 1,600. And the return on investment for that 6 hours and $600 is 2,333%. So that's a good one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then what you do is you put in all your, anything that you've done, and this may seem like a lot here, but we can load in any activity. And what I'm looking for is what's the return on investment for all the different activities I'm doing? Which ones are generating leads and clients, and which ones aren't? Okay. Now the interesting thing sometimes when you do this is you might say, okay, well, I've done some referrals. Referrals are usually pretty good. Well, let's say I did AdWords and I spent $600 on AdWords. Let's say I got 5 leads from AdWords and I got no meetings, no sales. Well, the average sale is $20,000. Margin per sale 0.7. We don't need that one there. Average profit per sale, but the return on investment is 0 because there was no sale. So it's handy to track this because even though you made, a lot of people say, oh, I got 5 leads, AdWords is great. If they don't end up turning into clients, the return on investment is nothing.
Okay.
Right. Whereas sometimes something which maybe doesn't get many leads, but when you've tracked it, you can see, I don't get many leads from it, but the leads I get are really good quality and they'll often turn into clients. So by having a spreadsheet, it's very quickly like this, it's very quick and easy to see, is what I'm doing working? Are my lead sources working? I think a lot of people just do stuff. They end up at the end of the month, I've got 4 meetings, but they don't drill back. Here's where the meetings came from. So these are the things that are working, these are the things that aren't working, and I should keep doing the things that are working and obviously stop the things that aren't working. So I need you to talk, Lisa, now. Say something really profound.
Oh, I don't know how profound it is, but I was thinking that before the last couple of months, I used to get a lot of my leads and conversions from just events and networking and just people, in person communications. And now I can't do that, obviously, so I have to formulate a whole other strategy. So I think it's important that I should start ramping up some of these other activities and tracking them, and then going forward, see which ones are more successful.
Yeah. So I mean, this is getting, if you're running a simple little business, I don't know, maybe a lot of architects would have a feel for what's not working, but actually, I don't think, if you're doing just even a little bit of activity, you do want to track your activity so that you actually do know, is this activity I'm doing? Because as an architect, you've got limited resources. You might not have a lot of money, and you might not have a lot of time, and you've really got to make sure that it's working well for you. There is a catch with this one here, actually, and if anyone's got any comments, feel free to type in the chat window and I'll bring that up in a minute. But the catch with this is, because architecture is such a slow burner and projects may take 6 months to come through, what I do need is another sheet which just tracks all the inquiries that came in, the date they came in, and which of these things they came in because of. Right, so if they came in because of the hard copy newsletter in April and they don't end up doing a project until December, when that project does start, I need to be able to go back to, to find out where that client came from, so I can go and update my lead summary sheet here, and I can see, it was my April newsletter that generated that lead, even though it didn't come until December. And then I can update my numbers here and go, yep, no, actually I've got 2 clients right here, and all of a sudden the numbers change dramatically.
And then you can also go back to the April newsletter and look at what the content was that may have gotten you higher than average response.
Correct.
That's kind of keep working on that type of content, since there seems to be an interest in it in your market.
Correct. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's given more of what they want. Okay, now we can, and once again, we can track each month, what's working, what's not working. We can just take the numbers here from, our conversion rates on the right-hand side, the return on investment. And what we can do is just summarize them on a monthly basis, just so we can see, was there any difference between months? Was one of these months a really good one for the newsletter, and then the other months, not so good? What did we, as you've just said, what did we actually say in that newsletter that month? What we did was we included an insert into the newsletter that was posted at a hard copy to our Dirty 30, but it had an insert with a sort of give this out to anyone who they can book a free meeting with Lisa. And that turned into 2 projects in March. So we can track that. All right. I mean, some people don't like spreadsheets. I suppose architects, you guys have spreadsheets, so it's not really an issue. Architects be pretty familiar with Excel spreadsheets, I'd imagine, Lisa.
Yeah, and I use them more for my financial tracking, but I've been very bad, I have to say, about tracking marketing.
Right. Okay. So let's just pause for any comments from anyone else here for a minute. See if anyone's got anything to say. Right, has anyone got anything to say? Questions? Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, Richard, can you please let Richard know the link doesn't work? Okay. The link doesn't work, okay. Let me just go get you. That is useful, okay. It doesn't work for you. It should automatically download a zip file that they can open, okay. Just read other comments. I just wonder if anyone else has had trouble with it. Now, I've lost my sheet now. Where's my question sheet gone? It's jumped onto a different page. Oh, there we go. Umberto, what about potential conversions from social media activities? Yeah, you would just add those into the spreadsheet, Umberto. So you would just have different social media activities you're running, and you would create line items for them. I've just, these sheets that, so you would just have, Facebook campaign number 1 and things like that. And you would just add them in there, and just whatever time I would add the time I had spent doing it, because I think that's relevant for an architect. You may do something which is free or close to free, but it may have taken you 5 hours. So I would charge myself out at $100 an hour, and let's say I spent $100 on Facebook advertising. So let's say I did 4 hours on Facebook and 1 hour on ads. That would be 500, and let's say I got 2 leads. 1 meeting if I was lucky, or 1 sale. Average sale, $20,000, lucky me. Average margin, 0.7. And there you go, it's tracked. Now, like I say, these numbers, you may not be able to put in you may not be able to put in the sales and the average sale value until months later, but it still gives you, I mean, at the end of the day, even though it's months later, what's important is you need to know what's working and what's not. So if you have another spreadsheet that just has a list of all the leads that were generated, when they came in and where they came from, then you can just refer back to that list to see which lead source gets the credit for that client turning into a project. Okay. Go back to the question there. Tanya, how you going? Yes, can you give us some help on tracking long term? Hopefully that helps you. Yeah. Remember, you've actually got these sheets. Mastermind members have the Google Doc sheets, and we haven't used them for months and months and months. But you actually have all these sheets, or not all of them, but you have those lead tracking sheets. Plus, you have a sheet for just entering your name, the leads, all the leads, and when they came from or where they came from. There is a sheet for that. And remember Jane Fredericks, who's now president of the AIA, she was one of the few people who was very, very good at tracking everything meticulously to the level that that I suggest. I get work from people that know me for some time. Yep, you might just call that networking, Francis. You might call that networking, or and put it down as that. I mean, but what you want to see is, okay, well, does any of my marketing activities work, or is it all just coming from people who know me? If nothing I'm doing is working, you want to know that, so that you can stop doing that stuff. And worst thing happens is you just end up freeing up 10 hours a month of your time because you stop doing everything. It's not to say you shouldn't do other things, but you want to stop doing the things that aren't working. Chris Toddy says the link worked for me, so that's good news. And the link worked for Sue. Actually, it did, says Umberto. Right, good. Did work. Excellent. Okay. All right. It's kind of nerdy, I know. Tracking things like that, it is kind of nerdy, but it's one of those nerdy things. It's not very exciting, but it does give you a fair amount of power. It's one of those things that's it's good for you. It's like vegetables. It's like spinach. Okay, it's not exciting to present either, let me assure you, but I think it's useful. Okay, so you can track your leads monthly from whatever activities you're doing. Okay, you still there, Lisa?
I'm here.
All right, so let's have a look at the spreadsheet now. Now, this is a cool one. Oh, damn.
Did you say that there are links to the spreadsheets to download?
Yes, I did. They're in the chat window on the control panel.
Okay, because I'm in the control panel and I don't see them anywhere.
In the chat window, so if you enlarge, there's a little line in the gray bar that says chat.
I see the questions and it says grab a pen, we'll be starting shortly. But I don't see, I know sometimes there's like attachments or things to download and I don't see anything.
Okay. Do you see a little a line gray bar that says chat? Underload handouts, there should be webcam, polls, handouts, chat.
No, I just see audio and questions.
Oh. Okay, maybe someone else can, because I no link in mine either. This is Kevin Wolf. It's a web address. It's not a link, it's a web address.
Oh, okay.
Can you see that? You need to copy it and paste it into your browser.
Oh, your web address from your screen? Or where? I don't see anything on here that's a web address.
In the chat window, have you got a chat window?
Yes, I'm in the chat window.
And then it should say grab a pen and paper
Yes.
and take notes. We'll be getting started shortly. And then below that it says to all, and then it has a URL.
I don't see that URL. I only see grab a pen.
No, there's Kevin. Okay, I'll type it, I'll put it in again and see if you might have come in a bit later. What about now?
Oh, there it is. Yes, okay. I can
Okay.
copy and paste. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
No, that's good. That's good. You're not the only one. So Kevin's got it now too. Okay, I think when I put it in, only those who are on the line at the time got the message. It doesn't pop in later. Okay, so you guys are sorted. Right. Okay, let's look at the next little spreadsheet. Isn't this exciting? Right, this one here is kind of cool. Now, I adapted this the other day for accountants. And so forget the existing line. Just get rid of that one. Okay. Now, what this one here is to do is to show you how by making small improvements in 6 different areas that you can do really well. So let's say this person here is making $50,000 profit a year from $63,000 in revenue. Okay. In their case, they're getting 50 prospect inquiries for the year. So about what we said on this other one, about 50 inquiries a year. Half of them are becoming meetings, so they're getting 25 qualified meetings per year. Okay. In this case, 7 out of 10 are becoming conversion to client. That's pretty high. That's pretty high. So let's just change that to 1 out of 3. Just to make it a little bit more realistic. Therefore, we've got 7.5 clients. The average fee for a client in this case, it's at $20,000. And 0.2 of them refer us a client. All right. So based on these numbers, this might be a wee bit high. Let's go 15,000. Okay. Based on these numbers, if we have a 20% referral rate and all these other numbers, then this architect's going to earn $108,000 a year. Okay. All right. Does that make sense so far? So 50 inquiries, half of them become meetings, a third of those become clients. The average fee is 15. The margin is 0.8. So at the end of the day, $108,000 goes into the architect's pocket. Does that all make sense for people?
Yes.
Yes, I'm hearing. What about you, Lisa? Seeing you've got the microphone.
I said yes too. I guess I didn't say it loud enough.
Okay, good, right, okay. So with this marketing, if we said, well, that was kind of what we get, then as a marketing consultant, I'd say, all right, well, do you think if we did some marketing, is it possible we could improve this number by 20%? Could we get 20% would be going from 50 to 60, right? And let's just see what happens. You know, if we could improve our inquiries by 20% by doing some marketing, let's say conversion to meeting. Let's say we can, you know, there's some things I look at and I give you a roadmap and I give you some scripts and I give you something like that. Is it possible we could improve the conversion rate by 20%? And for most architects, it's you know, possible. And sorry, that's getting them into a meeting. That's getting them into a meeting. Could we improve, converting instead of 3 out of 10 to a client, we improve that by 20%. Boom. And if we offered a premium option or something like that, do you think we could get some of those people to take a premium option? We sat down, we worked out your pricing and packaging. And I said, you're just making one offer, but what you really should be doing is making 3 offers, and the bottom offer should be what you would normally offer them. And then you might offer 2 higher value packages, right? And you might say, well, with design, I just give them the best anyway, and say, yeah, okay, it might be only project management. There might be 3 different levels of project management that you'll do. They can sort of pre-buy a certain amount, and otherwise they have to pay it on the hour or something like that. But you might be able to get that up. But let's just say the average fee, we can get that up by 10%. And actually, most architects can get their fees up 10% just by putting their fees up 10%. Most of you undercharge. I know that for a fact. Even though you're always under pressure for fees, you can put your fees up by 10 or 20%, and you'll still be under pressure for fees. Won't make any difference. People will still complain about your fees. It's just that you'll still get the same number of clients. It's just that the ones who do come on board will pay a better fee. Can we get more referrals? Yeah, well, you know, are you asking for referrals? I'd say Lisa, and Lisa says, oh, not really, not as much as I could or should. Well, maybe we can improve that by 20%. And let's just forget the margin, because let's say there's nothing you can do to get the margin. Right. This thing here, Lisa, is just to show that by making small improvements to each of these areas, and 20% is not a big improvement in any particular one of these areas, and we didn't even improve the margin. But what ends up happening is you go from, you know, $108,000 in your pocket, goes up to being $246,344 in your pocket. Would you like $246,344 in your pocket, Lisa?
Who wouldn't? I think we all would.
Well, there we go. Well, you know, if this was you on the left, then all you need to do is make 20%. Let's just say this, yeah, all you need to do is make 20% improvements in each of these three areas. All right. And when you break it down like that, you go, well, actually, that's possibly doable. You know, if I actually go through the academy and I look for I look for one new lead source, maybe that 20% increase, you know, maybe one new way of getting clients on board. It might be one partnership with a new builder. Conversion rates might be getting people to a meeting, might be just clearly articulating the value of having a meeting with me a little bit better. It might be one page or one sort of script, or one converting someone to a client might be the case of just changing the process. And we've done a lot of things around, you know, scripting, and slightly better scripting might improve the conversion rate by 20%, right? Just putting your price up by 10% would put your price up by 10%, right? Just asking for referrals more often might get you a 20% increase in referrals. Like, there's none of these things necessarily have to be anything hard. They're just little things that you're not doing, or not doing quite well enough. But the difference is staggering.
It really is.
Isn't it? Yeah. All right. Tanya says that's almost twice as many clients, so that might involve needing more staff. What's twice as many client projects? Where number of clients? Oh yes, you're right. 7 to 13. Yeah, you're right. Because of all the improvements here, you've got more projects. You've gone from 7 projects to 13 projects. Yeah, you're right. You might need to hire someone. So let's say you take out, I don't know, what would a staff member cost, or a second? Yeah, you're right. You might need to hire someone, but it looks like you've got enough money to do that. Let's say you pay them $46,344. You're still up, aren't you? You're still up. Okay, good point, Tanya. Umberto says, is it fair to say that the least you aim for, the least you get, and that it's always good to aim high, even given the current conditions? It may seem ridiculously impossible. Yeah, it's not necessarily an aim. I don't know if, you know, sometimes I find goals getting painful, because you set these goals and you start achieving them, right? But it is kind of handy, even if it's not a goal, whether it's a goal or not, just to say, you know, I'm not far off. You know, if I'm earning 100, actually 200 doesn't require me doing huge things. It requires me doing the right thing, and doing the right thing a little bit better. And the right thing are these 6 things here. Tanya says, is the worksheet part of the package above? What package? You lucky people who have turned up today, I've just you just given the link to these worksheets. No one else has got these. So yeah, there's a link in the below that you should be able to download that with Tanya. In fact, I'm going to unmute you, Tanya. You're talking so much that Tanya.
Yeah, so I was just wanting to know if this growth worksheet was part of that whole package of zip file that I hadn't opened yet. So
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it is. Now I have this thing here, because sometimes I get into spreadsheets and I just go crazy. And I think you can, you could put in your conversion rate and your prospects and conversion rates and all that type of thing by month. just to see if you're improving or going up and down or sideways. So if you're a real train spotter and you want to see, you know, how's this going on a monthly basis? Or how's my, you know, inquiries going on a monthly basis? What's the conversion rate each month? It'd be nice to see that by doing little things, you go, oh yeah, my conversion rate's going up. You know, once they're in a meeting, I'm getting more of them becoming clients. That's cool. I mean, that would be a nice little thing to see. And my project values are going up. That's a good thing. I mean, that's the best thing, putting your fees up. That's it really. They're just spreadsheets to play around with. So Tanya, give me some deep wisdom on any of this, please.
I don't know if I have any wisdom, but
Deep wisdom I asked for.
I do find personally, it's maybe a little bit more of a question for you actually, because like you said, some of these are kind of on a slow burn where it takes a long time for something to actually click.
Yes.
I personally get a little bit frustrated with tracking.
Yes.
You know, if it's 6 months down the road or whatever, you know, I like that instant gratification.
You like the instant gratification. Well, that's it. You're Phoenix, Arizona. We know what you guys are like.
We're boiling. That's what we are like.
You're boiling and you're too close to Las Vegas.
Yes.
So, well, tough luck. I mean, the answer is, yeah, you're right. It is a bit of a, you know, it's not quite as exciting as just going, oh, boom, my numbers have gone up like we're sitting here. It might take months for you to see the real numbers. But the only thing I'll say with it is you get what you measure. And so even if just by tracking things, even if it's a slow burn that's not exciting for you from moment to moment, it is actually worth doing for a number of reasons. One is it gets you focused on these things, and these are the important things. You know, it gets you focused on them, even if your numbers don't come through this month or next month or the month after, even if they come through eventually. I guess I'm more talking about the lead, you know, this one here, that, you know, to fill that out might take you a while. But one, you'll know what is working, which is really powerful. Two, you'll be focused on, you know, the key areas that do make the difference, and you'll be trying to improve these, even if you don't get the numbers, you know, come out immediately. But over the year, you might see most of the numbers come up. So it is. I mean, everybody who makes big money and gets successful in life, it's always delayed gratification. You know, if you want to get fit, want to lose weight, it's always delayed gratification. You go out and do your exercise and eat healthily for the day, and you end up at the end of the day starving and hungry, and you still look the same. And you wake up the next day and you still look the same. You know, it takes weeks before you start to notice a difference, and months before you notice a big difference. But you do if you stick with it. So it's always that delayed gratification. And that's the thing. If it was instant gratification, then everybody would be able to do it, and you'd have far more competition than you're going to have right now. So if it's delayed gratification, very few people will do it, but those people who do it will be the successful ones who have all the success and make all the money. There you go.
Yeah. You know, I do think that monthly lead tracker is the key, and then transferring it every so often into the overall lead analysis, I think is probably key.
Yeah, right. Well, that could feed back into that one as, well, this is the actual activity I've done for the month. Yeah. Okay, so a question from Eric Mickerton, or a comment. Any suggestion for getting meaningful metrics for a firm like ours with many different project types? Yeah, just many different project types, yeah. I mean, it wouldn't make sense to, say, okay, well, I'm going to do this for each different project type. I suppose if you're a one-man band or a small firm, that might be a little bit granular. If you're doing lots of different project types, yeah, I mean, you may just have to do each of these things by project type, because they're all slightly different. In which case, if you're a small firm, it might lose a bit of meaning because it's the numbers are too small to give you too much. But I just think take this stuff, adapt it. You may have to adapt it depending on what you're doing. As long as the whole point of tracking numbers and things like that is just really to turn the lights on so that you can see what's happening to a greater degree. And even if the numbers you get are delayed or you've got multiple different project types, so it kind of doesn't work perfectly. Even if it works, it kind of works to some degree. It's probably worth doing because what it's doing is turning the lights on for you. I was speaking to an accountant yesterday, and they're terrible at coming up with descriptions of what they do and how they do it because they're so analytical. Every time they write something, they just say, we're going to give you this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And we did a thing. I said, look, your clients out there, it's like they're sailing in the dark. It's like they're sailing in the dark and it's rough and stormy weather. And what your job is to do with all your numbers that you give them and spreadsheets and management reporting is to turn the lights on, for one, and two, lift them up to higher ground so they can see over the whole bay. They're not in the boat getting smashed around. They're above the boat and the lights are on and they can see what's happening. They're on the shore, they're on the cliff. And that's what it is for you. It's really just a case of can you use these tables? They may not be perfect for you because you guys are, you do big projects and different types of projects and all sorts of things. But if they can turn the light on a bit for you so that you can see how you're tracking, particularly so that monthly one, something like that, you can see that, even if that's all, this was the only one, I can see that my leads coming in on a month-by-month basis. I can see there's a trend there. I can see my conversion rates are going up, my fees are going up. Even if this is the only chart you use, at least you can see that you're getting better, and it forces you to be concentrating on the 6 key areas that make a difference in your numbers. That's it. It's really just about turning the lights on. And architecture is a terrible, it is a slightly terrible to a firm business to try and track because for the reasons we've discussed today. But still, these things work to a degree for all of you. All right, Umberto said, I guess he needs to have different sets of these, one for each project type. Yeah, possibly, but if you're only, if you're not doing many projects, I'm only doing one of this, 2 of this, the numbers is the project's very different. If the projects are very different, correct. You're right, Umberto. Yeah, but like I say, look, they're a guide and you use them as you can. All right, any final, has everyone got a copy of these charts? Oh, the other thing I'll just show you here is this is the impact of discounting. If you increase your margin, if your present margin, let's say is 60%, let's say your margin's 60%, and you increase your fees by 20%, then your sales, you can lose 25% of your clients and you'll still end up being the same. Okay, so the point of this one here is to show you how raising fees is really important. If you discount because it's a recession and your present margin is, let's say, 60%, and you discount by 20% because you think that'll help you win more projects, then you're going to have to increase your sales by 50% to get the same amount of money that you made last year. So what this is saying is, don't discount. If anything, put your fees up, because as soon as you discount, you lose out big time. So don't do that. All right. That's it, guys. So hopefully these spreadsheets can help you. Any other final thoughts or comments? Just type it into the chat window now. Lisa and Tanya, your microphones are still open, so one of you's typing. We'll get a final thought from each of you guys. So Tanya, wisdom, please.
Well, I do see how, for sure, making those small improvements can come down to a big bottom line difference. So I think that's inspiring, just to look at what a little change might result in.
Okay, thank you. And I have in my secret file, if you're saying, well, what can I do in each of these areas? I'm just going to tease you guys with this. And then, here we go. Oh, I don't like that format. Let's go that way. White label training. And you could say, well, do you have any strategies for each of those? Do you have a list of them? I think you might have got this the other day, Tanya. If you want to join Mastermind, these are all the strategies for each of those things that you can do. Now, you guys have, you've given some strategies in the training anyway, but these are all the ones that I know of. That this is my kind of personal list of all the things you can do to lead generation, converting, average client value, returns, margins. Margins is mainly about cutting your costs. So anyway, join Mastermind, I'll give it to you. All right, that's it. When you discount, you lose your identity. Yeah, and you lose a lot of money too. Eric Mitchell says, my lead tracker has number of days since last contact, which helps me remember to tickle people who have fallen off the map and remind me I'm here. I think it's a good idea to tickle people, Eric, who have fallen off the map. Right, we need to finish with something from Lisa Bixler, something found.
I don't know how profound either this is going to be. This is actually, it was kind of encouraging, because when you broke it down into, this incremental changes in each area and things like that, it made me think, okay, well, it's really manageable. This strategy, it's, before it was kind of a daunting thing of tracking everything. And so I just never did it. But I think this is also a good time to do it, because like I said before, I'm having to now change the way that I do get most of my more qualified leads. So I'm definitely going to do this, so that way I'll just keep track of what's working and what's not, and just kind of go from there.
Yeah, and I think if this one here is a really good one. As I think of this, maybe it's just these, tracking your leads is great, and it is a bit of hard work. But just even on a month by month, just this one here, if you can just track from a big picture, how many inquiries am I getting? How many of those are turning into meetings? How many of those meetings are becoming clients? What's my fee? How many referrals am I, is my referral rate from people going out and margin, all that type of stuff? It just reminds you to keep focused on those things, and you get whatever you measure.
Mm-hmm.
You get what you measure. So if you measure this stuff, it'll go up. And if it goes up just a little bit even, you'll end up making $246,344. Guaranteed.
And even
Oh,
though
that's-
it's, you know, like you said, the slow burn, the long lead time that we have to deal with, you know, more than we'd like to.
Yeah.
Even if it starts to grow incrementally and it doesn't just flip by that much, you know, overnight, it still, I think, would encourage people to keep going, to do those activities, you know, and
Yep.
figure out ways to tweak what they're doing to make it even more effective.
Correct. And even though you don't see it, because it's kind of harder to track and it's slow, it doesn't mean it's not happening. This is exactly what is happening. You know, so it is happening on a month by month basis. And so anyway, if you can track it, it's good news. All right, we better finish there because I've got another webinar to run for the 6th training. So thanks, guys. Hopefully that's another little piece in the puzzle, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Tanya.
Thanks, bye.
Thanks, bye.